Love to have share a genuine conversation today around knowing when to leave. I know we all have a personal story of times in our lives where we've had to make a decision. And I'm excited to hear more from each of us as we dive deeper into this topic and share the stories that really awoke us up. Awoke us up, is that the right word? No. To share the stories that woke us up. And so to kick us off, I'd love to hear from Steena. And I wondered, Steena, if you could share what comes up for you when we talk about knowing when to leave.
Well, where to begin? Where to begin? There's a reason I wrote a whole book about it. The first thing that actually came up was a conversation that Boy and I have had several times about our past relationships, like any relationship. It could be a friendship, it could be a short-term dating relationship, anything. And it's like there's always that moment you look back on and you're like, I should have known then. When that happened, that should have been the deal breaker. And it's almost like once you ignore that first sign that you get, that first gut response of like, it's time, or this isn't okay, or I shouldn't be here, like just that feeling of like, oh, this is not good. Once you like, what's the word I'm looking for? Overpass, no, I can't get the word, but you ignore that basically and you stay, you kind of bypass that and you stay. It like diminishes your ability to recognize more of those moments. So like you have that first moment of it's time to leave, and yet you kind of justify your way into staying. So someone may betray you. Like I had the experience of being betrayed, and I so loved the person and saw having a relationship with them that I stayed. And I knew in that moment that I was making the decision to either leave or commit, like more than I was already committed, because I was going to forgive them. I was going to like be willing to like work through the problem, right? Because when you leave, you don't have to work through it with them. So if somebody cheats on you and you stay in the relationship, there's work to do. If someone cheats on you and you leave, you have your work to do, but you don't have their work to do or the relationship work to do. It's just your own healing and your own hurt. And so when you stay beyond that, you're committing to another level of like investment. And sometimes sometimes you decide to do that for the right reasons, right? There are times when like we want to quit, we want to give up, like on our business. There's times when you're like, burn it all down. And it's not time to burn it all down, right? It is time to double down instead of burning it all down. But like knowing the difference, right? Knowing when it truly is time to leave, is I think so important, because I just found that like after I betrayed myself in that experience and was just like, I'm going to forgive this person and invest in this relationship, then it's kind of the sunk cost bias where you've put so much in that you don't want to leave because you feel like there's something of value here that you'll lose. So then you just start ignoring a lot of those little red flags, a lot of those little signs and signals and things that don't feel good to you, but you're so invested and you're so like in it. And I find that then it takes a lot more accumulation of those moments before you're finally like, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. Like, the sunk cost becomes like you go bankrupt in the relationship basically. you go bankrupt and you're like, I can't, I don't have the resources to invest anymore. Like I've put everything I've got in and it's just, I'm not getting the return. And so I've learned how to recognize those things sooner and take, like if I get a first impression of someone and I don't feel good about them, I'm usually right. If someone says something that seems fishy, it probably is. um and I was talking to a friend of mine last night and I said, if I had to date again, it would be really easy because I'd weed those suckers out so fast. I've got like 3 things that if they did any one of them incorrectly in a week's time, a month maybe, like done, out, done, out. I don't care how much I like you. I don't care how fun you are. I don't care. If you do one of those things, I know where that road goes. And that's, get off, like you get off that road before you're at the place that you don't want to be. But I think it only comes through experience that we grow and we learn how to do that, because it's a process of getting to know yourself. And none of us start out at 16 developing relationships really knowing ourselves.
Oh, Steena, you brought up so many good points there. There's so much to unpack. And, I just loved the teaching behind what you were just speaking about, is that as difficult as it is to go through the relationship dissolving, it's the gift that we receive um, through that chaos or through that point in our life, that we come back even stronger. And I think you spoke so much to that point. I know for myself, when I made a decision to dissolve my marriage, there was this quote that kept popping up for me that I found at times helped me and motivated me and inspired me. And it's by the infamous Marilyn Monroe. And it is, sometimes good things fall apart so that better things can fall together. And I just feel that that particular quote really popped up for me when you were speaking about, Steena, how, yeah, just going through a situation like that, it is very difficult. And the more we know about ourselves, and certainly if we can take the lessons out of a relationship dissolving, then we are more powerful when we go into new relationships, taking those lessons that we've learned and applying them.